So my name is Nathan Scott. I'm the Executive Director of Mass Energize, and this is our third and final informational webinar about our Youth Climate Solutions Challenge. So I just want to say welcome. We're gonna do this whole presentation in an hour. So those of you who have other things you need to do tonight, we will be stopping by 8 o'clock. I'm going to be sharing a little bit of information about the webinar, about our Youth Climate Solutions Challenge, and then there will be lots of time for questions. So if you have questions, please hold them to the end, and I'll take as many questions as you have, because that's really the intent of this, is to share more information and to let you know and get answers to the questions you have. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen once again. And we'll go ahead and get started with this Youth Climate Solutions Challenge. Okay, so here we go. If I can just get my slideshow going. Oh, okay, hang on a second. There we go. Can everybody see my screen all right? Yes. Okay. Okay, just a minute. Let's make sure the technology is working. Okay, so welcome. This is a new initiative that Mass Energize is taking on. And Mass Energize, for those of you who aren't familiar with us, we're a nonprofit based here in the state of Massachusetts, helping communities to address climate issues. And so this is one of our new initiatives to really engage young people, students, high school students, and I think many of you are high school students. And so we really want to encourage and support young people to be thinking about the climate, thinking about and bringing your creativity to the climate challenge. So I've already asked you to rename yourself with your name in your school, but I do have an icebreaker. So what we're going to do is I'm going to we're going to stop the share, and we're going to quickly go around the room. And I'm going to call on you. And so what I want to know is your climate hero name. And that's going to be a combination of the color of your shirt and the last thing you ate. Okay, so we're just going to go around the room quickly. And I'm going to call on Brad. So Brad, what is your climate name, your climate hero name, the color of your shirt and the last thing you ate?
The red vanilla.
Red vanilla. Okay, I like it. Raymond, I'm going to call on you.
Would be gray lasagna.
Gray lasagna. Okay. Genevieve.
I think it would be black cereal.
Black cereal. Okay. Marcia.
Blue cookie.
Blue cookie. Okay. Mason.
Blue chili.
Blue chili. Peter Law.
Gray chocolate.
Okay. How about Rebecca from Natick?
Red couscous.
Okay. How about Alicia?
Blue mung bean.
Okay. How about Dan? Sorry, Dan, you're still on mute.
Yeah, sorry about that. Great taco.
Great taco, okay. And Resham?
Green nachos.
Green nachos, okay. And mine would be, I'm also kind of somewhat a blue, but blue checkered soup is what I had for dinner. So, okay, good. Well, this is just a fun activity, just getting us thinking and getting us to know each other a little bit here. So, okay, so we're going to carry on. And I'm going to reshare my screen. Just give me a second here. And here we go. Okay. So we have our climate hero names. And so what is the Youth Climate Solutions Challenge? This is a challenge whereby high school students and with one advisor form teams to come up with solutions to the climate crisis. And I'm going to say more about this, but we really feel like it's important that students work in partnership with other school, with other students. And so we really made it, and we want to make sure that we're approaching this as a team. And we also feel that one of the largest ways in which we can address the climate crisis is through energy. So we are going to be focusing on energy in these campaigns. Okay, so what are the kinds of projects that we're looking for? We are looking, as you know, there are many answers, solutions, ways in which we can address the climate crisis. But this challenge is going to be limited to energy. And the reason why we are focusing on energy is because energy has one of the highest impacts in terms of how we live our lives and the energy that we use in our homes, the way in which we use transportation. So energy has a 70% of our carbon footprint, 70% of the emissions typically come from the energy choices we make. So, okay, so the kinds of projects that we're going to be looking for from the team challenge, from the teams, is that we're really looking for you to think of creative ways to address the energy issue, whether it be adopting clean energy, whether it be introducing some new form of energy, whether it be using kind of energy more wisely, so energy efficiency. We're looking for campaigns. Once you come up with a solution, we're looking for campaigns that promote energy solutions such as, and you can see here, solar, heat pumps, electric vehicles, a variety of things. And what we really want you to do is we want you to reach out into your community, and we want to see the impact that your new solution, whatever that is, it can have in the community that you're working with. So we're thinking about campaigns, and you can use social media, you can use community events, videos, a whole variety of ways in which we want you to engage other people to take action. Okay, but one thing that you need to remember is that these challenges are more than just at your school. We really want you to be doing the challenges not only starting at the school, but then going out into the community as well. Okay, so here's some examples of some other related STEM challenges. So some of you, I think one or more of you is from Newton. So Newton North did a project, a STEM challenge called Kilowatt Energy Detectives. And at the project, students used kilowatt meters to measure how much electricity their classroom implements were using when they were in use versus when they were on standby mode. And what they did is, for their key actions, is they made a top 10 energy wasters chart. They designed stickers to remind people not to, to unplug their appliances. And they were able to measure and reduce the plug load by 15% over 3 months. So that's a great example of the kind of thing that we're looking for. Another group in Hawaii had a sustainability challenge that wasn't necessarily focused on energy, but here's an example. So here, this team of students developed a floating data collection device to monitor water quality in and around their school. And so what they did was they designed and built a floating device that equipped with sensors to collect water quality data. They then analyzed the data to see what the water quality was like and what the health impacts were. And then they engaged the community by sharing their findings and helping the community around them to take better care of the water that they had measured. So these are the kinds of projects that we have in mind. So why is it worth it? Well, what are you going to get out of this challenge? For students, you're going to learn leadership skills. You're going to learn public speaking skills, and the things that you're going to do are going to have real world impact. For the schools, this brings visibility. You get team building among the students, and it provides an opportunity for students to pursue learning in a real world context. And there are prizes at the end of this, and so the schools can take home prizes from the winning teams. So, not to mention, it's a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of creative outlets, and you are going to be making change in the world. So, okay, so a little bit about the participants and the structure. So what we have in mind is this challenge is open to any public high school in Massachusetts. And we have team sizes. This is a recommended size. Teams can be as small as 2. And we really recommend groups as big as 6. But if you do have a larger group, that is okay. I've actually had some schools say, well, we have 8 students who really want to be a part. Should we form 2 teams of 4? But the students really want to be all in one group. And we're like, okay, that's fine. So we just want to let you know that it's not a hard and fast that you can only have up to 6. And then we obviously want one advisor, one teacher or advisor, mentor to work with the teams. Okay, so yes, if you do have more than one team per school, that is okay. And basically, a team can consist of any group of students as long as you do have an advisor who is going to be kind of your main point of contact for us at Mass Energize. Okay. So a little bit about the timeline and what we have in mind here. So we are now towards the end of October. The applications to take part are the application deadline is next Friday, October 31st. And we are going to fairly quickly select the schools. Now, the application is a fairly simple, straightforward application. You don't have to answer a lot of questions. It's mostly asking us, what's your name, what's your contact, what's your school, just so that we can stay in touch with you. And what's the idea that you have for your challenge? You don't have to decide what what your solution is going to be, but we kind of want to know a little bit about your school and whether you are ready to take part in this challenge. So we're going to be announcing the participant schools on November 5th. And then during the month of November, we are going to be doing some more webinars, informational webinars for all of the groups that are taking part. So we'll be talking a little bit about clean energy. We'll be talking about how do you do outreach? How do you get community members involved? And so November and December is going to be planning, and then the campaign will actually run. The Clean Energy Challenge itself will run from January to April of next year, with May 1st being the deadline for when you have to pull all your material together. And I'll tell you a little bit about that. But we're having each team create a portfolio of the work that they did over those 4 months. And then we are going to have a panel of judges kind of review, and we're going to be giving out awards on May 15th. Of next year. So, okay, so how do you get started? Well, the best thing to do to get started, and many of you I think already have, is you gather friends and form a team. So once you have a team, you find an advisor, and here we go. So here are the roles and responsibilities. I guess I got this out of order, but what you do after that, then we want you to start doing some research, doing some background, thinking about what solution do you want to propose? And you're going to need to do some research on what kinds of clean energy technologies are out there. What do you want your approach to be? And so we want you to kind of spend a little bit of time on your team thinking about what your energy solution is going to be. Then, again, this is going to be during November, December, and then maybe even into January. We're going to starting to design how are you going to do outreach. Are you going to have an educational campaign? Are you going to, work with other organizations in your town or community? So we do want you to not only do this project at your school itself, but we also want you to partner with local sustainability organizations, municipal staff, other people in the community. So this project is beyond just the high school. And we can give you help with that. And then the final thing we really want you to do is think about how are you going to track the measurable impact of your solution. And so that can be tracked in terms of numbers of households, emissions reduced, etc. And we can help you think about that as well. So Now, the time commitment, we anticipate that the student teams will be spending about 3 or 4 hours per week outside of school time. And that's an average. I mean, that's an estimate. Okay, next steps. So what are the additional roles and responsibilities that we have in mind for the schools? Those of you who are considering being an advisor or mentor, we are asking you to, and the schools, to support the student teams by if you're at a school, identifying a faculty member or approving somebody who is willing to be the mentor or advisor to the students. We want you as a school to, to support the students participating in this challenge. And then we'd love your help promoting the challenge and letting other students know about it, promoting the challenge at the school internally. Okay, so the advisors, we are thinking and hoping that you'll meet at least once a week with the students during that period, January through April. And what we have in mind is a 1-hour meeting just to check in with the students, make sure things are going well. But we do want to see students kind of taking leadership and designing and implementing their own campaign. But clearly they'll need some help and support as well. So the advisors also serve as the main contact for us, for Mass Energize, and we're asking the advisors to also attend the webinars as well as the final ceremony, which will be in May. Advisors, we do realize that teachers have a heavy load, and so we're asking for a little bit of extra time, and so all the advisors of the approved teams will receive a $500 stipend just to compensate you for the additional time that you'll be spending. And we anticipate the time commitment for advisors to be 1 hour per week, roughly over those 16 weeks. So we're asking for total time kind of commitment from advisors of a total of 20 hours. Okay, moving on. How do you apply and what are the next steps? So we are now, as I mentioned earlier, we are in the application phase. There is a website link that you'll be receiving, and I'll put it in the chat as well. But the application deadline is October 31st, so next Friday. Okay. Then I've already mentioned, after we select the teams that are going to be taking part, then there will be 2 webinars that you'll attend virtually. One on just clean energy, what is clean energy, how to think about it, what impact it has, why it's a good thing. And then we're going to do a second one on doing community outreach. How do you engage other members of the community? So we do, and that will happen during the month of November, while you're starting to do your campaign planning. We will also have office hours during the entire from January to April. Once a week, there will be available for office hours. You can kind of log in. It's going to be virtual. You log in, come with your questions. We can offer advice, support, answer questions, etc. Or you can always email, and we have a dedicated email, which is this youthchallenge@massenergize.org. Okay, so what's some of the support and resources that we're going to be offering? So I've already mentioned that we are going to be doing two different webinars, one on clean energy and one on community outreach, and the dates are here. So you don't have to do anything about it now, but there you can see we're going to be doing one on the second week of November, and then the third week of November we're going to be doing. So this is before Thanksgiving. We'll be offering these webinars. And this is a good place to come, just start thinking about your project. Additionally, as I mentioned, we'll have office hours on Tuesday afternoons. Every Tuesday afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. will be a drop-in session for anybody who needs or wants to get questions answered. Okay, and then finally, Mass Energize is going to offer a web page with lots of resources and examples. We don't have that ready yet, but we are working on getting that ready. So we'll have templates, guides, outreach materials. We'll be offering those of you who kind of need help making connections with your community groups. We'll offer connections with partners, local stakeholders, and we really want to provide ongoing support for your team. Okay, So let's get to the awards. We are offering each of the 10 schools that are part of the challenge. We are offering $1,000 for the school. Now, 500 of that is for the students, for you as the student teams to use if you need to register a URL for your, if you're developing a website for this challenge and you need to register your URL, you need to pay for social media ads. So there's a $500 just to spend, so printing flyers that you're going to distribute in the community. There's a lot of kinds of things that, that will require a little bit of payment. And so we're giving each team $500, and we're also giving $500 to the advisor for their additional time. Then we have the grand prizes, which will be given out in the middle of May. And you can see what the grand prizes are. We're giving $3,000 for the first prize, $2,000 for the second prize, and $1,000 for the third prize. And that's money to go to the school, to support the sustainability club, to support the climate club, whatever the activities are at school that are promoting clean energy, promoting climate awareness, student teams. So this money is intended to go into whatever club or team to support their activities. Maybe you want to go on a field trip or something. So this money is for that. And you can see the final award night is going to be May 15th. That's a Friday, from 6 to 8 p.m. And we're going to hold it at Framingham State University in Framingham, at the Krista McAuliffe Center is where that's going to take place. Okay. And I see. Okay, so moving on, how are we going to select the schools? So we're looking for schools that can show us dedication and commitment to actually carrying out the challenge. So not only do we need to know, we want to know kind of who the students are, who the faculty is, but we want to have some assurance that you're going to take this seriously, that you're going to be committed, and that you're going to actually take full part in the challenge. You're not going to get started in January and then decide like, well, you know what, this is too much time. We don't really want to do this. So we want to know that you're going to be committed and that you're going to follow through. So we're looking for schools that kind of demonstrate that. And we also want to know that you're willing to kind of partner with other organizations. One thing that helps to do is to have students able to identify, or maybe faculty member can identify some local organizations that the school has already had partnership with, or something like that, just so that we know that you are able and willing to kind of engage in that way. And then, of course, at the school, we want to know that the school is behind this initiative, that the students are going to be supported, that there's a faculty member who's willing to support the students, and that you have hopefully you have some prior experience doing things like this. So whether it's sustainability or climate, now you don't have to have this, but that helps. Okay, so how are we going to evaluate the final portfolios for the prizes? Okay, so there's going to be 5 different areas that we're going to be evaluating you on. One is creativity and innovation. The next is, so how creative is your idea? Are you using new methods? Are you thinking about this in a new and creative way? The next is community engagement. How much are you involving other members of the community? If you just do it at school and that's it, well, you're not going to get a lot of points for community engagement. But if you're working with the community, if you're going to your town's energy committee and doing a presentation at the town energy committee, wow, okay, that shows us that you're really engaging the community. Okay, we also want to see, how are you measuring the impact of your challenge? Are you establishing some baseline data? Are you then measuring what either emissions reductions or whatever your metrics are? We want to know what's the measurable impact that you're having through your challenge. We also want to see how are you designing your campaign? What was the quality and design of the implementation? And finally, how are you presenting your final materials? We want it to be well presented in a professional way. And so we can also help support that. But these are the 5 areas that we're looking for in terms of how you proceed with your campaign and then how you present it at the end. We will, at the awards ceremony, every team will get a chance to present their project in front of the whole audience as well. Okay, so we have a lot more. And if you haven't already, I'm just going to quickly share. Let's see if I can do this just straight from my computer here. Let me know. Can you see my computer screen, or do I need to go off sharing and back on again? Brad, can you see my screen? Okay, you can. So this is on the Mass Energize website. You can see the URL is just up here. So this is the Mass Energize website. It's under programs. If you go to programs, down here is the Youth Climate Solutions Challenge. So, and this URL you'll have. I'll make sure everybody gets it. But this is where we have a lot more information about the challenge. What is it? Here's FAQs. This is about the information sessions. So if you need to show anybody, either your parents or other team members or your school, this is where all of this information lives here on our challenge website. Okay, so that's that. And here is, if those of you who want to right now, if you want to take out your phone, get this QR code, this will take you also to our webpage with the information about the Youth Climate Solutions Challenge. Okay, and I think that is all I have from now. So I'm going to stop my sharing. Let's see if there's anything else I need to say. Okay, so that's it from there. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm willing to take as many questions as anybody has. So thank you for listening. I hope I didn't go too fast, but if there's anything you have questions about or need more information about, happy to answer those questions. And you can either raise your hand virtually or just come off. Genevieve.
So you said it was like a 3 to 4 hour time commitment per week. Would you
Yeah.
say that's per person on the team or spread across the team?
I would say, okay, good question. I mean, it really depends on how motivated and involved you want to be. If you have 4 people, I do think that 4 people are going to need to spend more than just 1 hour together. So I would say that's per person. I mean, and that's an average. I mean, if you've got exams or if you've got, midterms and you can't do anything that week, okay, well, that's not a problem. But we do expect you to kind of, designing and then implementing this is going to take, it's going to take a little bit of time. So to briefly answer your question, I think that was per person, 3 to 4 hours per person.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I have one question. Oops.
Sure, Peter. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. In terms of measurable impact,
Yeah.
Are you looking for it to be focused on being able to show reduction in usage, or is it possible for measurable impact to not focus on that per se, but maybe be spreading public awareness? So the measurable impact could be participation in events where community members attended and there were a lot of people, that kind of thing, awareness versus actual reductions. I'm looking for more kind of your opinion on that.
Sure. No, it's an excellent question. And I'll be honest with you, at Mass Energize, we struggle with some of these same things. How do you show impact? I mean, it's a good question. So it's an important question. So there are various ways. If you were to say our impact was that we had 100 people show up to a clean energy demonstration we did at the school and people from the community came, that's great. That's great. However, if you can also show that those 100 people who showed up for the school fair went home and took some action, or at least committed to taking some action, okay, that would be the next step, right? So there's various levels of impact. Ideally, we'd like to see so when, X number of people took these actions, and as a result, we can measure their energy reduction. We could say how many people normally drive to school. I mean, I'm just making this up. How many cars are there in the high school parking lot on X day? Okay, so we're going to try to get everybody to walk to school. And so, okay, on that day, instead of 100 cars in the parking lot, there were only 20. Okay, that means that 80 cars did not drive. Okay, so what's now the energy reduction of that? So there's various ways you could do this. But we are ideally looking for measurable impact in terms of the climate impact, not just knowledge and awareness gained. However, that is also a valid metric.
Thanks.
Peter, does that helpful?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay,
I have a quick question.
sure.
For an advisor, does that have to be through the school, or could that be another person in our community?
It can be another person in the community. Okay, yes, it does not have to be a teacher. It can be another member of the community. However, we do need somebody at the school to basically sign off to say, yes, our students are taking part, and so is going to be their advisor. In other words, it doesn't have to be a school employee, but the school does need to say, yes, we are designated, some parent or somebody else to be the advisor. So Mason, does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So we do want the school to basically recognize the advisor, but it doesn't have to be a teacher. Okay. Now, Alicia, did you have a question? You had come off of, you turned your camera on. I just wondered if you had a question.
I think you sort of answered it from another question, but thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Hi, this is Rebecca. I was hoping you could talk about the portfolio submission, like what that entails.
Sure. So the portfolio, we're expecting it to be a digital portfolio. In other words, we're not looking for, if you're going to design, in the high school maker space, some super cool product that reduces energy. I can't even imagine what that is, but if you were to design something really cool, we don't need to see that. What we want you to do is take pictures of it, document it, tell us what you did with it. So the portfolio, we expect the portfolio to be a combination of, photographs of students doing the work. It could be social media posts that once you come up with your campaign theme, so here's we're gonna ask you for the digital images of the social media posts. Oh, we designed a website to get more people engaged. Here's the website. So we want to see digital evidence of what it is the students did. It doesn't have to be the actual thing. And if it's a campaign, let's just say, my idea of getting people at the school to not drive. Okay. So we'll see a picture of the empty parking lot. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just making this up as I'm talking right now, but we want to see evidence of what you did, and then also some documentation. So you could say, here's what we did, on this in the calendar during the month of January, we did this, in the February, we did that. So we want to see kind of a report of what your campaign did and what you accomplished. And you'll submit it digitally, via email. It'll be PDFs or, whatever, JPEGs, whatever. You'll put these documents together and you'll submit them via email, and then we'll review them for the final awards. Does that help?
Yeah, so it sounds like there's not like a specific template or outline you're giving. It's sort of like up to the students to put together how they want to show it.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. Think of it, I don't know, in art classes, students often put together a portfolio of what their work has been over the course of the semester, and that's what we're thinking. So it could be a digital. You could even use. I'm just thinking out loud right now. Use one of the, some of the money from the seed grant. There are some really cool digital portfolio software. You could, get a subscription for, that period of time, and you can upload all these things, and it makes a very nice portfolio. So that's just one idea. You could photograph things. So we're leaving it up to the students. And one of the metrics was, how are you presenting it? So we're not giving a template. We want you to think about, or the students to think about, how they want to present their work.
Thank you.
Okay, so I see a question in the chat from Shrestha. Shrestha says, not sure if you've already mentioned this, but what is the criteria for the projects? How closely related do they have to be to STEM? So Shrestha, I did go through this, but let me just really quickly go back through this, what the criteria is. If I can do this quickly. Here, let's just go back. Here it is. So Shrestha, you might have missed this, but it's not necessarily, there are STEM skills involved here, but we're looking for both objective criteria and subjective criteria. So the subjective criteria are, how creative were you? How innovative were you? The judges are going to measure, was this just kind of another standard campaign, or did you use some creativity in thinking about it? The STEM skills are going to come in, how are you measuring? How are you identifying? How are you collecting your data? So that's going to be under the number 3, measurable impact. And then we also want you under 5, this number 5 here, to be reflecting. That's also a STEM skill, is, what's your scientific analysis of how did you do? Were you successful? You might say, well, we were successful in this area, but we weren't successful in this area. So that reflection is another part of the criteria that we want to encourage you to think about, how you did and what worked well, what didn't work so well. So we're asking for some reflective activity as well. Okay, other questions? Shrestha, I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Great.
Can the portfolio be
Yeah, go ahead. So Resham, yeah, go ahead.
can the portfolio be digital like a website? Or does it have to be
Yes, it can.
physical?
Yes, it can. No, it can be a website. It can absolutely be, it can and should be digital in terms of how you present it to us. But yes, it could be a website. And if you upload all of your documents, all of your documentation, all of your reflections onto pages on your website, then you could just say, okay, here's our portfolio, and you give us the URL of your website. That would be fine, as long as all of the material is there for us to see. Okay, other questions? Yes, Brad.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a couple comments because I work together with Nathan on Mass Energize, and I'm on the energy committee in town, as opposed to being with the schools. And the way we're thinking about it is connecting the schools with our town's climate action plan. We actually have a plan that says, we need so many heat pumps and solar arrays and stuff, and getting them thinking about, okay, how do we, how can we reach those people? Why don't they already have solar? Or why don't they already drive EVs? Or why don't they? And the creativity that we're lacking as adults is figuring out how to get that message out to homeowners and other people in town. I'm really looking forward to this challenge on our local level.
Yeah, and all of you from your different towns, remember that every town has an energy committee. And the town energy committee, their mandate, their task is to engage residents in their community, in your town. So in Brad's case, in the town of Concord, the energy committee is trying to implement the town's energy plan, the town's climate action plan. So that's going to be an important thing for you all to think about, is to contact the municipality, contact the energy committee, and find out what they're already doing, what's worked, what hasn't worked. So that would be part of the research that we would hope that you would do between now and January, when you actually get started. So So this is definitely a collaborative project, not just a group of students, but it's a group of students who are then working with other people in town, other organizations. I see that Marcia Cooper here is here from, and she has been working with, has got good connections to Green Newton. Some of you who live in Newton, certainly you'll want to form a partnership or relationship with Green Newton and other towns. I see somebody from Natick. You know, Natick has an energy group called Energize Natick. You'll want to contact them, find out what they're doing. So these are good real world skills of working with other organizations, whether it's the town or kind of a grassroots climate group. Northampton has got several grassroots kind of climate action organizations. Okay, other questions?
I'd love to be able to share this video for the students who weren't able to come here. Is there an easy way to get that?
Yes. So thank you, Rebecca. So this right now we're being recorded. So at the end of this, the end of the session, I will set everybody who registered tonight. So all of you who are on the call, I will be sending out the slide deck so that you got the slide deck that I showed, as well as a recording. This recording right now that we're doing. So yes, Rebecca, I can share that with you and all of you on the call. Students and adults, I will send a follow-up email with all of these things. It'll probably be early next week. I'll try to get it out by Monday. I don't know. I can't get it out tomorrow, but I can get it out to everybody by Monday.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have another question.
Sure.
Yeah, Peter. Some organizations like the ideas to kind of come solely from the students and the advisors really kind of the support person. Other organizations like the advisor to play more of a facilitative role in terms of suggesting ideas. I guess I was wondering about the philosophy of you and Mass Energize in terms of like how much should this be? Should this be 100% student led? Should I give my input in terms of like if I have some ideas, should I share it with them? Like, what are your thoughts on that aspect? How much of a role should I play as their advisor as in addition to like kind of setting up the times to meet, but also sharing my ideas, that kind of thing?
Sure. Well, so Peter, thank you. I mean, I do think one of our impetuses or one of the reasons why we want to do this is really to be building student leadership. However, so that is something we want. We want to see the students taking initiative. We want the students to have their creative ideas. And students, I think, Peter, if you have got ideas, I think it's great to seed some of the ideas that you might have with the students just to see, hey, you could try this, you could try that. Ultimately, I think it's up to the students to take and run with whatever they want to run with. But Peter, I don't think you should just be like, okay, yeah, students, what do you want to do? And I'm just going to sit here quietly. I really think that adults have an important role to play in mentoring students, even while students are building their own leadership skills and using their own creativity to lead. And the students might say, great, well, that's a good idea, but we really want to go this way. And in which case I'd be like, great, that sounds great. But I would not hesitate from being an active supporter, Peter, I guess is the way I would answer that, even while we are looking for student initiative and student leadership. Does that help?
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you. That really clarifies.
I don't know how the students on this call feel. Do you want, I mean, it's your call. Ultimately, it's your team who gets to decide what you do. But I think students, I'm guessing, would be happy to hear ideas and get support from adults, but maybe not have the adults tell them what to do, because that isn't the idea. The idea is not for the adults to tell the students what to do. The idea is for the adults to support the students to come up with their ideas and follow them through and think through how they're going to implement them. So.
Yeah, thanks so much. That's really helpful.
Sure. Other questions? Okay, well, it is 7:50. I did promise that I wanted to finish by 8, so it looks like we're going to be able to do that. So last call. Let me just once again put the slide up with our QR code so you can just see that. You know where you can get more information. So I'm just going to share my slide once again. And I realize these are, these links that I have right now are not going to be, they're not going to be live for you. But here's the QR code. If you do want to take out your camera and get this QR code to our website. Otherwise, our website is massenergize.org. And you can just go to our programs page and then down to the Youth Climate Solutions section of our website. But all of you will get this slide. And so on the slide, once you get it, then it'll be a live link and you can just click on these webinar dates, the FAQs, etc. So my name is Nathan Scott. And my email, I didn't put it up here, but my email is just Nathan, Nathan, at massenergize.org. I'm happy to answer questions, but you can the website, sorry, the email that is youthchallenge@massenergize.org also comes to me. So feel free to reach out either at Youth Challenge or Nathan@massenergize.org, and I'm happy to respond. So. Okay, any last questions? And if not, I'll let all of you get back to your Thursday night. I bet some of your students have got homework, and teachers, I'm sure you've got things you need to do. But are there any last questions? Okay, well, thank you very much. We're looking forward to getting applications. And remember, the application deadline is next Friday, and the link is on our website. So it's just here. Actually, you know what? Let me just quickly show it to you before I let you go, just so everybody can see where it is on the site. It's right here at the top. Let me share my screen. In fact, I'll even really quickly show you. So here it is. And here the button is apply here. And you can see what it does is it opens up a form, and you can see these are very easy questions to answer.
You're showing the wrong window.
Oh, am I? Okay,
You're
I'm
showing
sorry.
slides.
Thank you, Brad.
Showing your slide.
Okay, so let me try that again. Desktop. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you see this?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just go back, show you. Okay, so where it is, so here's our website, right here at the top, apply here. Click on that. It opens up a Google form, and here you can just kind of go through the form, and you can see the questions here. It's the name, school name, etc. It's easy. It'll take you about 15 minutes to fill out this application. It's not long or difficult. Okay, so it's just a little bit about the school, who the advisor is, contact information. And then we have a few questions. Why do you want to participate? What issues related to climate matter to you, etc. And then that's it. You just submit the form and you're done. So it really, I don't think it should take you anybody more than 15 minutes. Okay, but we do need this in order to make the final selection of teams. So, okay, well, with that, thank you very much for coming out. I'll stay back if anybody has any other questions they want to, but I will be sending out the recording of this webinar to all of you. And please feel free to share it with other faculty, with other students. We'd love to have as many people as possible taking part. So thank you again, and look forward to reviewing your applications.